I often ask my students, who were you before you came to this body? What were you before you came to this body? Your mother would have said, I wonder what it's going to be. You were an it. Neither he or she, just an it. So it came into the body. Your names are not even yours. Did you choose your names? Unless you've changed your names to Sanskrit names as we have done. But your name is not even yours. Your name is chosen by your parents or a friend that just liked the name and decided to give you that name. So what is really, really yours in this life? And when you start to think and you start to be aware, then you start to really understand. And this is the most important step in life, in yoga, in order to be happy. To really understand that we are really spiritual beings living in a physical body. And the challenge, the human mission is to see beyond what we call Leela, the play of life, and watch ourselves as if we're watching a play and take some distance. We call it non-attachment in yogic language. And people go, oh, yoga's so cold, I shouldn't be attached, I must run away from my family, attachment is not good. No, it's none of that. That's the wrong understanding. Non-attachment just really means nothing is ours. Nothing is ours. When you really understand that everything is on loan, everything, and that everything passes, good and bad, both pass. That life is a series of pain and pleasure. And once you've deeply, deeply understood it, and that takes a long time for it to go into our subconscious, that this is the truth, because it is the truth. It is so simple, but we keep missing it. We think we're going to live forever on this earth, so we stay angry, because the subject matter tonight is anger and forgiveness. So we keep anger in our hearts so long that we suffer, and it's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. I remember when I first started the yoga science, I had a lot of anger. I was very angry, actually, with my husband, because he never told me where he was going to take me. And when I landed in Gibraltar, and those days it was really behind, and I'd just come out of American University. I said, why didn't you tell me? This place has no college. I can't even do further education. I studied to serve, to work as an art therapist. There's nobody who even understood what art therapy was. I think I was the first woman there to actually, work in a business with my husband, So it was a big, big, big shock for me. And for many years, I was like internally angry. You know how when you can love somebody, but at the same time, you're still angry for what they did? And he kept on saying to me, but if you want to go back to Hong Kong, you go. And when I, make some money and I get my life sorted, I'll call you back. And of course, my upbringing is, I said to him, I married you for better or for worse. This is the worst part. So I'll pass this, and I'm sticking to you. Because I was really, really very much in love with my husband. And I'm really glad I stayed. But what kind of quality life did we have? We were in love with each other, but then, you know how when you're angry, it stays in your soul, and then maybe when you're a little relaxed and it comes up, it's really quite nasty. And he used to say to me, don't be so nasty. And then I'd go, but it's all your fault, it's you, it's you, it's you. And the yoga science taught me to overcome all this anger I had deep inside. Because what point is it to have the best person by your side, a most beautiful life, if you can't see it? You can't see it, and I couldn't see it. I really couldn't see it. I couldn't count the good. I could only count the negative. And with the yoga science, I learned how to overcome anger. And the only way you can, and I'll tell everybody this, because in the last 20 years of doing consultations and watching people's lives, the only way is through forgiveness. You can have therapy for years. I've had people come to me who've had therapy in New York, London, with the top psychologists in the world. Great. And they're still repeating the same thing. But my mother did this to me 30 years ago. It's 30 years ago. Your mother is in the grave. God forbid, forgive her. Why are you wasting today? Yes, you have to go into therapy initially to find out what's wrong. Why are you feeling this? And when you feel this, you bring it up. You accept, this is how I feel. I'm really hurt. I'm really angry. Okay, this anger you have to accept is spoiling your life. Because the person that can't enjoy life is you while you have anger. Can you? Is there any peace when you sleep at night when you have anger? I know when I had anger, I had zero peace. Oh yes, outside is hello, hello. Fake. Totally fake. Because when you feel real peace, you know, your thought is peaceful, your words are peaceful, and your heart is peaceful. And there's like a harmony. And when you feel this harmony, you really feel, I don't know how else to tell you this, a solid peace. It's almost like a force beyond your human personality. It's almost like the entry of a great soul. And you never understood that human life, while you were living, could give you such great peace. So of course my mission is now to tell everybody, hey, look for it. Don't waste so much time on the past. Don't waste so much time on anger. Don't waste so much time of your life, because life is precious. You know, the clock is going tick tock, tick tock. We don't know how much time we have left. We really don't. And one of the techniques that I used, you know, when I first started the yoga science, and you know, especially with my husband, because really I hurt him the most, and he was the greatest love of my life, my greatest teacher. He really was. And I couldn't see it, but when I started to get angry, I used to think, oh my God, if he fell dead tomorrow, will I still be so angry today? Well, how would I feel? I feel horrible, because I knew I really loved him. So I started to develop this thing of when I was about to get angry, to watch it. And when I watched it, I realized it was just a lack of control, attachment, and this is what non-attachment really means, to a pain or something that happened in my past that I just wouldn't let go. And why wouldn't I let go? Too big an ego. I wanted attention. It was a very sick way of calling for attention, because things had changed already 13 years later, but I still brought the past. And but why? And this. Could I change it? Never. And that yoga science gave me the practice to forgive it, let it go, so that I could enjoy every single minute of this day. So obviously you can see when you change everything, the logistics, the whole marriage changes into something much deeper, much more worthwhile, makes life very interesting, because everything is a challenge. Even if you don't agree, you look at it as a challenge. You know, many times we really never very often agreed on many things. I was very arty and he was very businesslike. But it was great. We had so much to talk about. You know, we say, okay, we agreed to disagree. And I think that's what kept our marriage so alive. There was so much energy. There was, you know, and we didn't, at the end, I never looked at it as, anymore as something horrible, or when he said something to me, go, he's just in a bad mood today. Tomorrow will be over. And because I was like that, he changed. And what I learned is, as I was changing and becoming more loving, the other person was changing and becoming more loving. Of course, this practice I did for the last 20 years of my life. And like I said, I am so grateful, because I had only 6 weeks to say goodbye to my husband, because he was suddenly diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 years ago. And when he was diagnosed, it was already too late. So I had 6 weeks to show him all the love I could give him and have total closure. And because I had already done all the forgiveness and he had with me, would become really close, you know? There was no guilt. There was no guilt after he had gone. You know, and many people since then have come to me, oh, you know, my husband's passed or my wife is passed, and when she passed, I'm so sorry. I wish I could bring her back because, you know, I used to shout at her. Why did I shout at her? I wish I was kinder. She was such a lovely woman. And women tell me the same, and they have to live with this guilt. So I told them, never mind. It's what's done is done. You know, when you leave this realm, there's nothing but love anyway. It is only here that we have guilt. So I said, with this feeling that you have, with this guilt that you carry, do things in their name. Do some charity in their name. Go to an old people's home, spend 2 hours, make somebody else happy. And that's how you do it. This is how we do penance. When something is done, when somebody feels guilty and carry a lot of inner anger after somebody has passed, I say, don't carry it, but do things in their name. Do things in their name. Like today I will say, I will do this for my mother-in-law. She passed away about a month ago. And today's talk is dedicated to her. She would like that. She would like that. And this is what you do. You dedicate things that you are doing, cook a meal, whatever. And how does this work? Why does it work? Try it, you will know. There's an uplifting of heart because you talk to the spirit. You're talking to something that's so subtle, that works only on thoughts. And you're working with your heart. You can feel it with your heart when somebody is gone. You feel you're communicating when you're very clear in the mind, when there's no anger, when there's no fear, when there's no guilt. Everything becomes very clear. The blockage to get to know ourselves, as the Bhagavad Gita would say, it's a great text. If you haven't read it, read it, chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita. Those with fear, guilt, worry, or anger cannot find me. Meaning find the higher self. Cannot. That's your blockage. It's like a pipe that is blocked. So the yoga science is like the pump. We become the pump and we push all that rubbish up. It comes up. It comes up before it goes. So this is why it's very good to see psychologists at that point bring all the rubbish up so that you can see it and forgive it. But by talking and talking and talking about the same thing that you're upset with 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 2 months ago, by constant repetition, what are you doing? Magnifying, reminding yourself of the pain. What are you actually doing to yourself? Hitting yourself with a knife every single day by repeating the same thing. Only way to work with anger is let it go. It's not easy. I spent many years working on myself, but it's the best work I ever did because I could enjoy life. And when I did something wrong or somebody caused me harm, you know, the great science, and they still do, sometimes they call me a witch or whatever, you know, because many religions don't like that I talk about spirit, and I tell people to find God their own way. Everybody has their own way to find God. That's why we are made individuals. Each one here is a designer piece. Why? You have to ask yourself, why? Each one, there's no two people alike. Isn't that incredible? I just find that so incredible. So, you know, and I said, and I have understood with my my meditations, my work on my inner self, like I have understood that God wanted to know God, or light wanted to know light, or spirit wanted to know spirit through each and every one of us in our own ways, through our own personalities. And all our work is in this world is to live the best we can with our gifts. But when we're angry, we can't live the best we can. We just can't do it. It's not possible. All of us that carry anger, we know this. You just can't. There is no peace. And what are the 3 ingredients you need to live a good life, as my master said? To be peaceful, easeful and useful. Then you're living in the spirit, because that's it. You're fine. You're peaceful, you have everything. When you're easeful, you're relaxed everywhere. Everywhere is your home. We come today, could be late, but I knew we wouldn't be late. Very relaxed in the car. We'll get there 5 to 6. Perfect timing. No big deal. We got here 5 to 6 with all the traffic we encountered. And the idea of not having to worry, in the past, about 15 years ago, I would be, oh my God, it's getting late, people are waiting. No, I just sat there. I know the gods will work for me. And if we're 5 minutes late, I'm sure nobody would mind. And if they do, I'm sorry. What more can happen? That's all you can do. I'm sorry. Finish. No big deal. Why to waste 1 hour in the car getting worried? So I had a beautiful, beautiful Stockholm. It's great. I never been to this part, so, I say, well, no, don't worry. We'll get there for 5 to 6. We got here 10 to 6. Not bad, eh? 5 minutes bonus. And when you learn to live like that, it's really nice. Now, if you're peaceful and you're easeful, and I remember it was like maybe 6 years ago when we moved from Gibraltar to Spain. My husband had finished with his business and sold it, and I had decided that I'd sold my home so we could have something to live on. And so we rented a place, and I had decided, I said, I'm just going to retire a little. I'm always traveling and talking, and I'm going to just spend some time doing things that I love, painting and writing and being with my grandchildren, which I am anyway, every week, at least when I'm at home, once or twice a week. But I will spend some quiet time, not work so hard. But I did it for 2 months. And I was just telling Ula last night, I did it for 2 months. I didn't know anybody in the place in Spain I was living in. And in my heart I was feeling, this is really peaceful. This is really easeful. But what's the point of my life if I can't be useful? Yes, I was already spending enough time with my husband because he was retired, so there was a lot of time together. I was spending time with my grandkids, but I was doing nothing that was... I felt I was very selfish. And it wasn't that I wanted to feel that way, it was the way I felt. So I said, okay, anyway, it's all divine will. So I thought, I never go for facials, I'll go down the road for a facial. Anyway, I went to new place for a facial. Next day I get a phone call. The owner calls me up. Nalanie, I heard you came to my spa for a facial. Yes, this is my name. I heard you talking, a couple of years ago, and I've been praying to God that somebody would come in this area to teach us about the yoga science and meditation. So I said, I really I travel with it, but I told him I just like to be a little quiet. I already have a center in Gibraltar, which I go once a week, and she goes, please, please, please. And the next thing I know, we started a Sangha. We had lots and lots and lots of people. And the reason why I'm telling you this is when you get useful again, then I laughed. I said, forget about retirement, because so much joy is in working with human life while we're here. And the reason why I mention this also is when you're peaceful and easeful, whether you like it or not, the gods will make you useful. You don't have to worry what work you're going to do. Once my master gave us a lovely story. He said, you look at a tool cupboard, there's a hammer, there's a chisel, there are pliers, there are screwdrivers. They sit nicely in the cupboard. Do they scream, I want to be useful, I want to be useful? No. But when you need a tool, you go into the cupboard and you'll pick it up and you'll use it. And he said, Nalanie, be like that. Stay still in yourself. Be peaceful and useful. And when the divine wants to use you, it will call you. You don't have to do anything. And that's exactly how my life works. I didn't plan to come here. I planned to have a holiday. But Gita's dream, Ula's dream, was to bring me to Sweden and Finland. And she had one thought 2 years ago when I came on holiday. And she goes, I'd really like you to talk here. And I just laughed. So I have no more contacts here, just a few friends. So I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to bring you here. And then next thing I know, she calls me, Nallie, are you willing to talk in Finland and Sweden? So do you see how things are done for you? And the mind creates avenues when your mind is very clear. But whilst we are angry, we miss out all this magic. We miss out the communication with the divine force. There is a higher voice in us. It lives right here. But you see, when you're angry, you can't hear anything. You don't hear the voice. All you hear is your own loud mind screaming and shouting. That's all you hear. And you don't know how to get out. You don't know how to get out. The only way to get out is to keep telling yourself, simply, and then you do the work after that, to keep telling yourself, is this really worth it? Me keeping all this anger? And then you read all the spiritual books, and all the great masters forgave. I mean, didn't Lord Jesus do the most incredible thing? On the cross, all the beatings, all the thorns, God bless you, all the nails. Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do. They know not what they do. They know not what they do. And if he can do that, who are we to complain about a little pain, or somebody call you silly, or somebody calls you stupid, and then you live with it for 20 years. You know how many people I see, young men and women, who tell me they're very angry with their parents. My parents were very strict. They were really cruel to me call me stupid, call me not good enough, expected so much from me. And I say to them, okay, I understand you're in pain and they expected a lot from you. But can you also see that in their time, they didn't know any better. They didn't have the education many of us have today. They didn't have the knowledge. They had tough lives, so they felt that they were tough with us. We would be able to cope with the world. But we are coming into changing times, where the new world needs a more gentle approach. And I said, tell me one thing, did they feed you? Yes. Did they look after you when you were sick? Yes. Did they take you through school? Yes. So, can't you forgive them that one bad thing or 3 bad things they did to you, and be grateful for what they did do for you? This is one of the practices of forgiveness. Look at all the good things. If you're angry with someone, really angry, try to sit down, take a deep breath. That's really important, so that you stop getting so angry. Because when you're angry, you speak, and then once you've spoken, it's too late. A great South Indian saint said, Tirukural, once the word comes out, you can't bring it back. Haven't you noticed sometime in your life you may have been really angry and you said something to someone, and 5 years later or 6 years later, but you said that to me. Why did you say that to me? It's happened to you? Well, it happened to me many times. Or you don't trust that person because they said something to you. So we need to be really careful. And that's one of the practices with the words we bring out of our mouths. We really need to be really more aware. And this is a spiritual practice. Be more aware. Yes, you're really angry. You really can't take all that pain inside. But what good will it do to scream and shout? And then afterwards you feel horrible about yourself. You don't even like yourself anymore. And then you will justify your anger by saying, I was right. I knew I had to do that. That person disturbed it. And the more you justify your anger, the more angry you become. The more angry you become, I'm so sorry. The more miserable you become. The more miserable you become, there's no solution. What's the point of life? To live a miserable life? Remember that clock is going tick, tock, tick, tock. We have a short time on this earth. And the question is, you have to keep asking in yourself is, I have a short time here. How would I like to spend it? What would I like to leave behind? What would I like to leave behind for my children? What would I like to leave behind for my grandchildren, for my friends? Don't I want, when I go, them to say, she made us laugh, or he made us laugh. Oh, what joy. Oh, I'm going to miss them. Oh, thank God they're gone. I'll go to their funeral, and 2 days later, you're forgotten. You're just a nobody. Because all we can do in this life, really the little time we're here, and we are put with people and situations, we're placed with these people purposely, because we have lessons to learn from them. That's the reason why we're placed with certain people, and our lives are with certain people. Why? All the millions of places you could be born in, of all the millions of people you could know, why have you come to these people? Because there's some kind of connection, something that you have to fix in yourself, not in them, in yourself. Maybe they bring out the worst in you. And when they bring out the worst in you, you have to understand why. What have you got to learn in this lifetime? You know, I've worked with many relationships, and sometimes one partner brings out the worst in the other, and the other partner says, I'm a really good person, so I just keep quiet and become the victim and cry all the time. And I say, you know your problem? That person has come to you because you need to learn courage. You need to stand up and say, hey, you can't speak to me like that. I may love you, but it doesn't give you the right to manipulate me. See, that's the courage that you need. And I've seen many people in that situation in relationships. Keep quiet. I'm making my life peaceful. What rubbish. Not making their life peaceful. They're keeping all the sadness inside. And then they get sick. I knew a gentleman who was living with this woman for 22 years. And she was always telling him how, just never praising him for anything good, but always telling him how he wasn't never good enough. He was a very gentle person and just wanted to live a good life. He wanted peace. And because this was his second marriage, he really tried not to fight. And he came to yoga classes, just didn't want to argue. And he thought he was being good by keeping quiet. But you know what happened to him? He developed bone cancer just behind his heart area. Just behind, because he kept all the pain in the heart. He really lived with a broken heart. Of course, by some stroke of luck or faith, he realized he couldn't do it anymore. He couldn't live like that anymore. And his ex-wife wouldn't listen to him, so he just left. And thank God, he's fine now, just in time. The doctor said if he had left it one more month, he would be dead. It would have metastasized the cancer, because bone cancer, it's a very different kind of bone cancer. So, wow, when you see things like that, you go, please don't waste your life. If you have something to say to someone, communicate. A lot of anger stays in ourselves because we don't communicate. I had a young lady, she was 45 or 46, and, young lady. She came to me, she had grown-up children, and she was really angry all the time. So one day she had a private consultation with me. She was so angry with her mother. Her mother lived nearby. She still looked after her, but, my mom. And then she came to see me, she said, I'm so angry with my mom. And she always, every time I enter the house, it's, this is not good enough, and that is, and you have to be perfect, and you look horrible, and comb your hair. And I said, she only tells you that because she wants you to look pretty. No, Nalanie, you don't understand. I said, okay, can I ask you a question? Have you sat down and said, Mom, please, can you give me 5 minutes? I need to talk to you. Something is really hurting me. Something's really hurting me. I really need to talk to you. And tell your mom how you feel. Oh, I can't do it. My mother will never accept it. She'll get angry, she'll scream. I said, I've tried to tell her in the past. I said, no, you've not tried to tell her in the past. You have accused her in the past. You've said, Mom, you're not nice. Mom, you do this. So you've accused her. You have not asked her to explain to you why she does that to you. So I don't know if I can do it. So what we did is, in my office for 3 weeks, 3 sessions, 3 one-hour sessions, we close eyes, she'd visualize, she's walking to her mother's house, she gets in, she's peaceful, she's quiet, her heart is not beating, she's not fearful of her mother. She walks in, she makes a cup of tea for her mom, they both sit down and say, Mom, I really need to talk to you. And imagine the whole conversation, very peaceful, very forgiving. Do you know? She did it. She did it. And the mother told her, why didn't you ever tell me before? 45 years, how many years did she waste? So I didn't know you were so angry. I remember telling you, you're my daughter, comb your hair, look nice, because that's the way I speak. But I didn't know you were going to take it as an insult, because that's the way I speak. I want the best for you. I didn't realize I was hurting you. And isn't it incredible that now, I mean, this is so long ago now, I mean, they really get along brilliantly now. She even brought her mother to yoga. And her mom is such a sweet lady, and I can't understand why she saw her so negative. But you know, she really is a sweet lady. And because she told her mother that, and because they both cried, and they, you know, the communication came out, and they both tried, now they have such a beautiful relationship. The mother wanted to look more into her life, to see the meaning of her life. Now that the father had passed away, she wanted to find some meaning to her life. So, you know, one person changes, one person forgives, one person communicates, and the whole family changes, and the whole family can get peace from it. One person is angry, and the whole family is angry. One office manager can create hell in business. One good, kind, forgiving office manager can make a business boom. So you have to ask yourself, first and foremost, what does anger bring me? And if somebody treats you badly all the time and is always angry with you, then you know your lesson is to stand up for yourself. Learn to be brave. That's why they've come into your life. Learn to be brave. Look at the example of Tina Turner. Do you all know her life story? Mm-hmm. Anybody here? You know, she was beaten up by Ike over and over and over again. But she really loved him. And since then, I've met many Tina Turners in my life. She just couldn't. She was too scared of him. She couldn't leave. And then she had a friend who told her, he said, you know, you just lack spiritual strength. You are so weak. You've lost all your confidence. You've been so scared for so long that now you need spiritual help. And Tina Turner wasn't religious. So she said, you don't have to be religious, but I'm a Buddhist. So she taught Tina Turner how to just sit down every day, light a candle, and repeat a mantra. She said, you just repeat the mantra. Just repeat the mantra. So she did that, and then she got curious. She started to read some spiritual books about a beautiful way of being, how to live a happy life. She wanted that. And after 6 months of doing that, she developed an inner strength that she didn't know she had. And the next time Ike hit her and treated her so badly, she called the police. She left him with no fear. With no fear. And in fact, many years later, she said, actually, what did she say? She said, I'm a nun in a miniskirt. I'm a nun in a miniskirt. And if you look her up on YouTube, she's now teaching children to sing mantras. Yes. Have you seen it? It's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. From all the different religions of the world, all the different traditions. She's teaching them all. It's wonderful. Watch it on YouTube. It really touch your heart. And now she's doing that. She's going even further in her career by working with children. So they're brought up to know that they have to love each other and not fight and not, and not argue. So, and this is what's happened with all the religions. Mine is better than yours, and people get angry, and then what happens is wars everywhere. And that's the antithesis of what all the great masters, I'm not talking about religions now, I'm talking about the great masters have taught us. They have all taught us. Lord Jesus, Buddha, Swami Satchidananda, Gandhi, Mother Teresa. Go through the years, eons, Ramakrishna, Paramahansa Yogananda, Master Shivananda. They have all taught us that while we're living on earth, we can achieve this peace and this tranquility if we learn to forgive, if we love, if we serve, if we laugh, you know. Don't hold things. Don't take anything personally. Somebody insults you, give them back a smile. My master would say to us, and he was very, very, very funny. He always used to make us laugh. He said, if somebody calls you stupid and you get upset, you're really stupid. He says, because if somebody calls you stupid and you are not stupid, they call you stupid. You laugh. You go, fine, that's your opinion, but I know who I am. And that's what you're lacking, he would tell us. So he said, so learn, when people call you something bad, you know who you are. Or at least start to know who you are as a human being. Don't allow anybody to take your strength, your ability to forgive and love and drain you. Because when people get angry with us, when others get angry with us too, we're taking a lot of negative energy. And when we constantly receive this negative energy, we get sick. So there's two ways. Don't give it out and don't bring it in. Like my friend with a backbone cancer right behind the heart. You give it up, you also get sick. Because when you're angry, you know how you feel, your body goes like this, tense, all the disease stays in your bones, you get aches and pains. Arthritis is one of the things that, connected with anger. Because you're holding your body tight, you're not relaxed. You're never relaxed. You'll never trust anybody when you're angry. And if you can't trust anybody, you can never be relaxed. Don't worry, like I said yesterday, there will be people in this world to break your heart, and there'll be others to mend it. Like a coin. We have one coin that's got heads and tails, two different sides to the coin. Life is pain and pleasure. Don't take everything to heart and then live with the anger for so many years. Of course, if you want to take good things and remember it, it causes no damage. The only time it causes damage is when you had something very good in the past and you've lost it, like I did when I first got married. Had a very good life and then went there to Gibraltar where I had a very tough life, like Cinderella, and then I lost it, and then you keep yearning for it. Oh, I wish I could have it again. And that is also dangerous. I had it, I experienced it, wonderful. Now I'm going through a difficult time, and it's painful, but you know what? It is also a learning. It's teaching me to build my spiritual muscles. It's teaching me to be strong. I'm strong when everything goes right. Everybody can do that. Everybody can do that. You don't need any kind of strength. When everybody's nice to you, you can be nice. The test is when life is hard and when people are horrible to you, can you still be happy and can you still be nice? That is the test. That is the spiritual test. And if you really understand that there is a beautiful plan to perfect us all to the best we can be, when challenges come and people hit out at us, we can say, no thank you, I deserve better. Because we have come to learn to do that. No thank you. I love you. I will adapt, adjust, and accommodate for you. But you have to respect that I am also soul and I'm also a human being. And you stand up for yourself. If you don't stand up for you, who will? Who will? You know, somebody came to see me and she said to me, you know, Nalanie, I go to the church. We have a cathedral in Gibraltar. Every day I light a candle. Every day I light a candle. Every day I pray that this person will leave me alone and stop shouting at me. Every day I go there. Every day I pray. But God doesn't listen to me. I've been praying like 2 years, lighting a candle every day. Nothing is happening. I don't believe there's a God. There is nothing. I have lost. She was crying and sobbing. So I go, okay, let me show you. My office in Gibraltar is a small room, no lights, and it's quite dark. So I said to her, I'm going to switch off the light. So when we switch off the light, it's quite pitch black in my office. And I go, I want you to sit there and pray for light. So she sat there. I said, say, God, give me light. You pretend you're in a church. Say, God, give me light. So she, okay, close your eyes. God, give me light. 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 So I said, after a few minutes, I said, do you have light? No. What do you have to do to get the light? Turn it on. What do you have to do to turn it on? Find the switch. Exactly. So what do you have to do? Don't think I'm going to turn on the light. I'll sit here 1 hour till you go. I don't know where the light switch is. I said, well, use your brains. That's what you got it for. Find it. So she got up, groped. Took a few seconds, not long. And then she switched on the light. I said, who switched it on? You did. That is your God power. That is the power of the Spirit. That we have the ability and the intelligence, the gift. The only difference between us and animals is this intelligence. We call it buddhi in Sanskrit. This buddhi, this intelligence to get up and change things. So I said, now go to the church, light your candle, and thank God for giving you the realization that you have the power to change your life. And so she did. And it didn't take long, 2 or 3 days, been praying 3 years. Do you see? And then, I don't know if you know the helicopter story. Any of you know the helicopter story? It's one of my favorite stories, you know? Because this is what happens to many human beings. We always think somebody is going to help, you know, this divine energy is going to help us in some weird way because we're good people. I'm a good person. Why does this happen to me? Why has this come to my life? It comes to everybody's life. Well, this is the story of this man who built this wonderful house. And he was very religious and he thought he was very spiritual. And he goes, you know, builds this beautiful house. And one day the rains come and it's flooding. It's really, the whole town is flooding, and a boat comes by to evacuate people from this village and say, come, please jump on the boat. We're going to evacuate you because the storm looks like it's going to get worse. And he goes outside, no. I have so much faith in God. I have so much faith in God. I'm going to pray, and I know I'm going to get help. So they go, okay, you could be right, you know, it's so far, you can still live in that house. So the next day comes and it's pouring more, and now it's gone to the second level. He's gone to the second level of his house. And then there's these really huge tugboats coming now and announcing, everybody get into the boat, get into the boat, get into the boat. If the storms are getting worse, please come, evacuate. And everybody went, and he had the same thing. No. I have so much faith. God is going to save me. So rains continue. Next day, he was up on the roof. A helicopter came. Come, get our string, run. It's your last chance. No, go. God will save me. Of course, he drowned. So when he drowned, he asked God. He said, I prayed. I had so much faith. Why didn't you help me? He said, my son, I sent help 3 times. First, I sent you a small boat. Then I sent you a big boat. Then I sent you a helicopter. But each time you said no. Do you see? And so many times we miss our boat because I don't know, we think we're going to get help from one direction. And when help is coming, no, it's coming from there. But how is it going to come from there? It's there. Didn't you hear all the scriptures say God is everywhere, in everything, with all of us? The higher self is within us. And when we're in touch and we pray, we get the help. But do we see the help? Do we see the help? I remember when my youngest sister had a stroke. She's very young. She's beautiful. We had 7 children. And Lavina, she was everybody's favorite. She was our favorite. She was the smartest, the prettiest. We all just adored our little sister Lovey, and I was extremely close to her. And who would expect that our baby sister, from all of us, would get this brain stroke? And, but she had gotten married. She was living in Africa, in Lagos in that time, with her husband. And in Lagos, I don't know if you know, they have no good doctors and not very good medical conditions. She happened to come in August to my parents to have a 2-month holiday. Every summer she did that. She got the stroke in Hong Kong. And the stroke was very, 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 very severe. She was, the doctor said 30%, but that's another story. She wouldn't make it, she'd be like an animal. That's not true. She doesn't walk very well, but she's gone pretty again. She speaks with a little less, but she lives a beautiful life. She lives a beautiful life, and she's very happy now. This is many years later. But, I remember when she had the stroke and she didn't want to live, my mother called me, please, please, please. So I went to Hong Kong and I stayed with her every day in the hospital trying to encourage her to live. And, and I just loved my father to bits. Because when we got her out of hospital and she was able to eat again with her hands, she was able to go to the toilet again, which is, she lost everything. But all these miracles happened all in the space of 6 weeks. And then, she was crying one day to my dad. And she said to my dad, Dad, why me? Why me? Oh, and my father answered her, such good karma. That you were not in Lagos, that you were here. Such good karma that we can surround you with love. Such good karma that I can afford to get you a nurse day in and day out. Such good karma that we can get the best physiotherapist. Such good karma that your sister loves you so much, she's with you every single minute of the 6 weeks. Such good karma. If you were in Lagos, none of this would have happened. And he said, and he said, God loves you so much, darling, and we love you. You are living with me as long as you need to get better. You don't need to worry about anything. And really, it's such good karma, and she's so happy today. And she's really accepted her situation without anger. She was angry for a year, but then with my father telling her, and, me telling her, Levi, don't waste your life. At least you can walk, and you have such a bright, she's so smart. Your brain is not damaged. Yes, your motor skills are. You can't walk like most people. But, at least your face, when she initially had the stroke, it was all like this. And now you wouldn't be able to tell by looking at her face. You just know by her speech and the way she walks, but she's really smart. I said, turn it around and be an example to all those young people who might have strokes like you, and show them how you can forgive that happening to you. And she has, She really has, and she has one daughter who is so, so incredible, so full of love, so full of kindness. And, I just see that when you help yourself, we proved all the doctors wrong. We proved all the doctors wrong. That she'd be a vegetable? She's no way a vegetable. And people love her. They look at her and they admire that she's so young And she goes to all these parties. She still likes going to parties, and she always looks stunning. She's only little. We call her little Lovey. She's still our baby sister with these big eyes, and she's beautiful. And we all just admire her to bits, And she has taught, without the anger, without the frustration, what you can do with your life. But whilst you're angry, and whilst you say, why me, why me, why me, that one year when she was so angry, it was so difficult to help her to get better. It was a real struggle, And then she started to use techniques that she had learned with my dad and me, meditation, forgiveness. We kept on saying, we can't answer why me. Nobody can. Nobody can give you an answer. All we can say is, it is as it is. Accept, make the best, or don't accept and live a miserable life. So we didn't know how long she was going to live for. So do you see, in every case, anger drowns you, and forgiveness brings you up. In every case. In all these examples I've given you, and I could give you hundreds more. And I've watched people change their lives by dropping the anger.